Well, hello my darlings, and welcome to day 4 of Danie's Designs Craftmas, in which we are going to be creating a monogrammed wreath. I sure do hope you'll stay tuned. For this project, you will need some decorative Christmas ribbon, some extra fine glitter, you will need some Mod Podge, you will also need some zip ties, and a wooden letter of your choice. You will need some deco mesh. You will also need this 16-inch wreath form. And you will need a few ornaments. Of course, you will need your handy dandy tools. Let's get crafting. So the first thing we are going to do is prepare our letter. We're doing this first so that we can set it to dry while we work on the other components of our craft. And so to prepare our letter, all we're going to do is cover our letter one section at a time with our Mod Podge, and then we're going to cover it in glitter. Now we all know that Mod Podge dries very quickly, and so as you see I'm doing here, I am overlaying some glue where I put down a very thin layer, but just putting or adding a few more dabs to ensure that that glitter is going to stay where I placed it. Now, once I have placed my glitter in that section that I have just glued, I am not going to shake it off yet. I am simply going to continue the process of laying my glue in another section and covering it with glitter. Now, what I'm going to do, or what you see that I'm not doing here, is I'm not going around yet the inner workings of those letters. I am going to wait until I get maybe on the back side to fill in the sides or the middle of that letter D. So as you can see, I'm just placing some more glitter, and I'm going to allow that glitter to sit there while I continue this process going all the way around. When I'm finished and it has dried, I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to continue this process on the other side, and then when everything is dried, I will shake it off, and if there is any empty spaces, I will be sure to fill those in. While we are waiting for our glittered letter to dry, what we're going to do now is we're going to prepare our form. And to do this, we're going to turn the form upside down where the indented part is facing downward. And once we have placed the form the way we need it to be, all we are going to do is we are going to take our decorative ribbon and we are going to wrap it around and around that form. Now, in an effort to anchor this, all I am going to do is overlap some of that ribbon, place some hot glue, and then place the end of that ribbon into that hot glue. That is all we're going to need to secure that ribbon. And once we have secured that ribbon in place, it is simply going to be a matter of wrapping that ribbon around and around our wreath form until we have gotten to the other side. Now, we are not going to wrap this entire wreath form in that ribbon. We are going to wrap, let's say, maybe 3/4 of it, because what we want to do on the bottom is we're going to take our deco mesh and we're going to fill in the empty space on the bottom to give our wreath yet another dimension. Now I'm going to continue this process off camera and then I'll be back. So here you see our wreath form that has been wrapped about 5/6 of the way using that ribbon that all I did to secure it was glued it down on the front end and then glued it down on the back end. And now what we're going to do to close in that empty space that you see there is we're going to use our deco mesh. Now to get these rolls, what I did was cut them into rectangular pieces 9 inches long, and of course by just the nature of deco mesh, of course it wraps around itself, but as you can see, because I wanted those ringlets to be a little tighter, I am going in and I'm wrapping them a little bit more. Now once I have gotten them into the desired shape that I want them to be, I am going to take my zip tie, and using that zip tie, I am going to secure them right away to my wreath form. So no, I'm not using the zip tie to secure them and then using another zip tie to secure it on the wreath. I am doing all of this in one fell swoop. So using my zip tie to place it through some of those rungs on that wreath form, and then adding one of my ornaments to that wreath form, I can now close my zip tie and then push that excess around the back of my wreath form and cut it off. Now because we want the bottom of this wreath to be very full, and so that you will not see that zip tie in the middle, we are going to have to place about 15 to 20 of these bunches of deco mesh on this wreath form. So I'm going to show you one more time how I did it. Pushing this one over to the side, I am going to take another set of my deco mesh. I'm going to roll them into the desired tightness that I would like. When I'm doing that, I am placing them one atop the other, and then finally for the red, rolling it in the desired form. And then I'm going to take my zip tie, and using that zip tie, I'm going to attach it to my wreath form. Now, I am not going to be placing an ornament on each one of those sets of deco mesh. I only have about 6 or 7 ornaments that I want to place on this wreath, and so maybe I might place it on every 3 or every 4. But as you can see now, I'm just tightening my zip tie. I'm going to push that excess to the back, and then I'm going to cut it off so that it is not dangling out at the back. And then I'm going to continue this process with my other bunches of deco mesh, as you can see. And when I'm finished, I will come back to show you what all of the bunches together looks like. So here we have our wreath with all of the bunches of deco mesh that we have added to the bottom. And so now what we're going to do is we are going to place our letter on our wreath. And to do this, all we're going to use is some hot glue. And what you see I'm doing here is I am eyeballing where on the stem of that letter D as well as on the arch am I going to need to place my glue. So I am going in first with a foundation of E6000 glue, going up the stem and around on that arch, and then on top of that foundation I am also going to lay a foundation of my hot glue, which is going to give me my right now adhesion while that E6000 glue cures over time. And once I have placed my foundation of glue, all I'm going to do is find my placement and then apply some pressure to make sure that the glue is going to engage. So I'm going to clean this up from any glue fronds there are, and then I'll be back to show you our finished project. Well, here you have it, my darlings. Our Danie's Design Craftmas Day 4 Monogrammed Wreath. Isn't she lovely? I think my favorite part has to be the deco mesh and how in stark contrast to the sterile, or I should say the single layer of ribbon, this deco mesh is just wow, boom, bang, in your face. It screams, see me. And so, my darlings, I think if this monogrammed wreath were to grace your door for the holiday season or your office cubicle, you would get a lot of compliments for it. I sure do hope that you've enjoyed our craft today. And if you did, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up, as well as leave me a comment in the comment section below. So, my darlings, I so look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow for day 5 of Danie's Design Craftmas. And so until then, I say to you, please, please, please take care of yourselves for me. Know that I love you all. Bye now.